Over the past 5 or 6 years, since I've been putting content about bass fishing online, I have always said every single summer that one of the best ways and most consistent ways to catch bass is with a simple soft plastic worm. It truly is a simple way of fishing, and it's a very effective way of fishing. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a few ways that I like to rig these baits, a few of my favorite techniques when it comes to worm fishing. And I also want to talk about our Tuesday night tournament results that we had. I've been doing this every single week, and we used almost exclusively worms during the last Tuesday nighter. So it just kind of all goes hand in hand. Now, before we get into all that, this video is brought to you by my new lure company, Mav Bait Company, named after my middle son, Maverick. And right now I am doing a pre-sale. So basically from now until July 20th, so another 4 days, I am doing a pre-sale on the website. Basically you can get everything at 10% off. I have 7 different products that I'm kind of bringing to market, a number of different colors, including this little bladed jig. I think that you guys are going to like a whole lot. But anyways, I will leave links down below in the description for everything. We're also going to talk about a few Mav baits because look, we weighed in 4 of our 5 fish on our Tuesday nighter with a Mav Bait Company. So if you'd like to help support the channel, click that link for mavbaitco.com. And I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's talk a little bit first about the Tuesday night results, and then we'll get into the worm fishing. Now, as you guys know who have been paying attention to the Tuesday nighters, we do a coin flip every single night to see whether you can use forward-facing sonar or not. Now, we flipped the coin, and you were not allowed to use forward-facing sonar. Honestly, it was a good change of pace because the last, I think, 4 or 5 events has been all forward-facing sonar. And so to kind of not have to pay attention to a screen all night, it is honestly relaxing on the mind. And with that being said, we were able to get second place in that tournament out of the 29 boats or so that showed up. We had 14 pounds. The winner had 16 pounds. And also we were actually able to gain quite a few points on the overall like team of the year, which is nice. So really can't slip up though. Like second place is a very good, I mean, there's several really good teams, but the guys that are in second place are very good. They're not going to slip up hardly at all the rest of the year. And so we got to do well. But anyways, in that tournament, we fished primarily worms. Again, you don't have use for forward-facing sonar. You kind of got to come back to some things you've done in the past. And for us, worm fishing was a big deal. And so we actually weighed in 3 of our 5 keepers on the warhead worm. This is an 11-inch, just big Texas rig worm, and we weighed them in on the plum color like this. And we weighed in one of our fish, which actually happened to be the biggest fish on the phantom worm. This is a straight-tailed worm. Now I'm going to tell you a few things about the warhead worm as far as how I like to fish this bait. It is so uncomplicated. But there's just a few things that are important to remember. Now, the first thing when it comes to fishing a big worm like this, I think probably one of the most important things is do not use a pegged weight on this if you don't need to. Now, if you are fishing around some vegetation or if you're fishing around brush piles, like offshore brush piles, sometimes in those situations, you may want to peg your weight. Keep it from falling free from the worm itself. But I think with most of your Texas rig fishing, if you do not use a pegged weight, you will get more bites. Now, these particular worms are made with a high floating soft plastic, so they really stick off the bottom. And I do think that is key, especially when you're fishing around grass, or especially when you are fishing not necessarily like a super hard, or even around a hard bottom, but sometimes that silty bottom. Like, for example, if you're flipping pads in the middle of summer, something that I really like to do is this is the same reason why I've always said if you're flipping pads to use a Yum like Cinco, forget what it's called now, the dinger, a Yum dinger instead of like a Gary Yamamoto Cinco, because the Yum dinger has no salt in it. It's a very buoyant soft plastic, so the worm will stick up off the bottom. And I think that when you are flipping pads or like shallow vegetation, that is key, because sometimes in those areas the bottom is not hard, and so that bait being up, those bass can easily get to it without sucking in a lot of silt. I've seen that be a really, really big deal. Now, that is something that I love about the big worms as well. I want them to kind of be off the bottom a little bit. It also brings them a lot of action, and it also tells me why one of the best things that you can do with these worms, besides not pegging it, and I've talked about this a lot this year, a lot, because it has been just so key, is to fish this thing as slow as you can. As slow as you can, where you're really counting rocks, you're pulling it slowly down there. You do not want to give this thing a ton of action most of the time. And I think that that is very, very key. Like a normal cast with a big worm may end up taking 3 minutes to get in. Like if you make a long cast and you're dragging it kind of back to you, it may take 3 minutes. And look, I have a tank with a couple of bass in it right now that I'm going to be doing some content with in the near future. But something that I've seen, even with throwing this thing in the water, is that these fish will pay more attention to it when it is sitting on the bottom and you kind of have the subtle currents that are kind of lifting it up. It looks so natural down there on the bottom when it's just kind of lifting up and just kind of slightly moving. That's when the bass pay more attention to it than when you actually drag it across the bottom. And so the slower that you can fish a lot of your Texas rigs during the summer, I truly believe the more bites that you're going to get. And it has held so true during this year. Now, when it comes to the weight size that I'm going to put on this, I usually use a 3/8 ounce unless I'm fishing in less than about 8 foot of water. If I'm using, if I'm pond fishing or if I'm fishing in 8 foot of water or less, I like to use like a 1/4 ounce weight. But a 3/8 ounce is probably what I use most of the time, fishing it from about 10 foot all the way down to probably 20 or 25. If you get really, really down there deep wise, I've seen this a little bit across the country, like down south, when some of these fish will get deep, you might want to step up to 1/2 ounce. But a 3/8 ounce is probably what I go with most of the time. But anyways, drag it really slow down there. And something that I talked about the other day, I kind of feel like I breezed through it. When it comes to fishing a big worm, a lot of times when we make a cast, we are making casts to where we could potentially get bit. And even though it's not a bait that's going to fall like a Cinco to the bottom, a lot of times when it first hits the bottom, it is one of the best times to catch a bass on that initial fall. And so when you throw baits like a topwater, I'm sure you've heard guys like Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Rick Klein, your favorite fisherman ever, whoever it may be, you hear them talk about cast that bait out, let it hit the surface and let the ring settle. And then just give it a small twitch. I have seen so many times out there on the water where letting those baits hit the water, letting the ring settle, popping it once, bam, that is when they get that. I think the exact same concept works a lot of times when it comes to the big worm, because when you cast that bait out there and it falls and it hits, a lot of times that noise of the tungsten hitting the bottom will attract a fish. They'll come over to what that noise was, because bass are very curious individuals, very curious. They'll come over to where that noise is, and then all of a sudden you just have this worm that's just kind of sitting there motionless, barely moving on the bottom, very naturally. And a lot of times if you just kind of let it sit there, literally dead sticking the bait for about 30 seconds, you would be surprised at how many fish just all of a sudden come over there and tick. They tick and they start moving off with your bait. That is something that I have caught a lot of fish doing, and I don't know that you would always get the same bite if you let that thing hit the bottom and you immediately start working the bait. So that initial fall with a big worm, to me, it is a lot like that initial cast when the top water hits the surface. I think it's very important when it comes to this bait. So anyways, I fish a big worm a lot during this time of the year. Now, there's been a few places on the lake that we fish a lot that I've actually thrown this a lot over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. And something that I noticed the other day is we got to a place where I've primarily caught a ton of fish on a big worm and they weren't biting it. And we kind of fished through this area the other night, didn't really catch any fish. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick up that drop shot. So I picked up a drop shot, and I had 4 bites on it in the same time frame that I fished a big worm and got no bites. I'm not saying that this is not effective, but I had shown a lot of the fish in these areas this exact same bait. I picked this bait up, and it was like a little bit of a light switch. 4 bites. I ended up losing one. It felt like a giant, but every single one that you lose, I feel like feels like a giant. But ended up catching 3 fish there, 2 good, like 2 2.25 pound keepers, and we caught our big fish of the night, which only ended up being like a 335 or something, 340, and it was on the phantom worm. This one right here on a drop shot rig. Now, when it comes to drop shot fishing, for years I've always liked a drop shot during the summer, a straight-tailed worm specifically. I have talked a lot about the robo worm, and I still think that the robo worm, the 6-inch fat robo worm, is a great, phenomenal bait. This one is honestly, like, I've obviously been testing a lot of my own baits out. This one has just kind of replaced the robo worm right now. And I'm not, like I said, I want to be honest with you guys when it comes to like the bait stuff, because I'm in control. I don't have to talk about this company or this company. A robo worm is a great alternative. The Margarita Mutilator has been my favorite color for years, but this is the one that I caught all the fish when on this past Tuesday. It was also, this is the same worm that I used, I think 3 or 4 Tuesday nighters ago, and I caught almost every single fish we weighed in on the bait. So the way that I like to rig it is I believe a 2-aught hybrid worm hook by Gamakatsu. Sorry, a lot going through my mind right now. But it's honestly, it's like a little EWG hook, but it's not an EWG hook. It's that hybrid worm hook. That thing gets them. It's actually the same one that I use on the big worm, but I use a 5-aught on the big worm, where I like a 2-aught when it comes to the drop shot. And I use a 10-pound braid to a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader is kind of my deal. 1/4 ounce weight. Now, kind of like the big worm, I think that the lighter weight that you can get away with, the more bites that you get. And the reason being is that when I fish a straight-tailed worm on a drop shot rig, I like to cast that thing out, and really I am almost just dragging it across the bottom. It is very little movement. I'm not aggressively shaking it, where I feel like a lot of people think when you fish a drop shot, you got to kind of twitch it and shake it. My thought and my theory behind that is if a bass is hitting a drop shot bait that you are viciously kind of shaking all over the place, that's a very aggressive bait down there on the bottom. And if a bass is going to hit that, they will probably hit more aggressive baits that you can fish on heavier line. This is a finesse technique that I'm doing with the drop shot. And I'm literally just dragging across the bottom. Every now and then, I just kind of do like a subtle pulse in the water where it's just kind of lifting this bait up. Very minimal action. That is the key. Very minimal action. In the summer, like the big worm, like this worm, minimal action, I swear, will get you a lot more bites. And the best thing about a drop shot, you can fish it pretty much anywhere and at all depths. But anyways, those are kind of the 2 worms that I use. Those are that's kind of my thought process behind a lot of worm fishing during this time of the year. Obviously, you guys don't have to use my baits. You can use whatever baits that you have. I'm sure you have a Ziploc bag full of soft plastic worms, but they are so effective during the summertime. It is hard not to pick them up, whether you're fishing a pond, a river, or a big lake like I was on Tuesday night. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to check out those Mav Bait lures. Again, they will be pre-sale ordered until July 20th. Guys, I hope you have a great weekend that's coming up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.